Thank you for joining us on this episode of You the Mom, Mommy Mundo's official podcast in cooperation with Podcast Network Asia. And this month, our theme is all about school matters. And in today's conversation, we have our book publisher, educator, and advocate of literacy, Filipino heritage, and child development. Plus, she is also a mom of one. And I so admire her, and I love having her with us. And the past year, she has been so active in helping educators and schools transform and pivot to online learning and has become a valuable resource in practices of maximizing formats of schooling, whether today's online or the future's hybrid formats or wherever life takes us in the future. So we're blessed to have her with us today to talk about how to choose the best educational format for your child. So let's all welcome the VP of Product Development of Adarna House, co-founder of the Raya School, and co-author of School is Life, Ani Almario. Hello,
Yay! Hi,
Annie.
Janice. Thank you for such a generous introduction. I remember that Teacher Tina and I actually launched our book with you.
Yes, in Expo Mom last year. It's been
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
been a year
It's been a
already.
year. Nako, time flies so fast talaga.
Yes.
Yeah.
And as you predicted, I remember that conversation we had a year ago. You were saying that this is going to take longer than we think. I think
Yeah.
you guys
And
in
guess what,
education.
Janice? It's actually going to take longer than what I predicted.
Yeah. Well, we're trying to
Take
be
what we
hopeful
preach.
naman, di ba?
Yeah, yeah. We have to
We
be
try to be optimists, but then the reality is there. And that's why
right,
we have to keep the conversation going too.
right.
And I really loved how you really took on the reins and really leaned into the needs of the times. I mean, you could have just rested in your passions of publishing and coming up with creative projects and focusing on your own school, but you and also Teacher Tina um, really went out of your way to help other schools and share best practices. I'm sure you had a lot of experimentation and studies behind it. And
Yeah.
yeah, kudos to
And
you
and
guys.
you know there was a recent webinar on featuring female publishing professionals, and I actually shared that happened mga a week ago, and I actually shared at that webinar that people will not describe me as motherly. People who work with me and who work under me will never say, "Oh, Annie is a mommy figure." But I really think it's my motherly instincts that kicked in, Janice, and really made me do all the things that you just mentioned. Parang mothers are really attuned to the needs of their children, 'di ba? Whether they're our
Yes.
biological kids or people we mentor or our staff or people we work with. And mothers are also very attuned at saving and caring for the welfare of the whole community. So I think it came naturally to
Right.
me and to Teacher Tina to to really help other educators, aside from
Yes.
the fact that it's also part of the nature of progressive schools, that we don't really
Yes.
hesitate in sharing our best practices with each other. Parang we really don't consider everyone or each other a competitor, and
Yeah.
we really want everyone to survive. Yun lang talaga eh. Yung theme last year parang
Yeah.
was just to survive.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
I love that sharing, Teacher Annie. How moms, I've always advocated mompreneurs, mom advocates were really nurturers in every
Yeah,
meaning of the
even if
word,
it's
every
not
sense of the
obvious.
word. Yeah, yeah. It's
In my
true.
case,
In
parang
your
naman
case.
siya, sobra kong strict
Yeah.
and
Baka
parang
tough love,
schedule.
Annie.
Baka. Eh, mother din yun, di ba?
Yeah,
Motherly.
right. Motherly pa rin yun. You have the best interest of whoever is around you. Tough love. I need that. I need some of that too. But
So
yeah,
yun, parang it's really I really appreciated my being a woman and being a mother. When I reflect on last year, na feel ko yon na those aspects of myself, of my nature really came out. And
mm,
parang yun yung instincts mo, 'di ba? Not to
yeah,
fold. And I always tell teachers and other school owners who ask for my help na it doesn't mean na you don't break down sometimes and
yeah,
you don't cry cry.
It's okay
Or,
not to be okay. That was the
yeah,
tagline.
may days talaga na
That's
bad, di
true.
ba?
Yeah.
And it's part of it too. Parang women are known for that too, na parang we can express our emotions. And then, parang, and then take charge of our household the
Yeah.
next minute. Parang
Yeah,
that's
yeah, that's right. That's
yeah.
true. And we make it actually, sorry to magbuhat ng bangko. We make it look easy. 'Di ba? Parang
Yeah.
it's just flowing
My
along.
husband calls it schizophrenia.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
sabi niya kasi parang, oh, okay ka na? Yeah, okay na. Ganyan.
Okay na. I got it.
Pero ganyan talaga, natural yan sa atin. Parang may switch tayo.
Yeah. And I wanted to say
Magbuhat pa
also
tayo ng
that,
bangko, Janice.
oh, 'di ba? Correct. This is our channel. That's why nga you the mom, 'di ba? You the mom, we're like cheering each other on. And maybe, I just the thought just entered my mind that perhaps what happened last year was that we were all called to be compassionate, right? Parang we were all in the same boat and we knew it was difficult for everyone. So maybe for you, like knowing the hardships that the whole academe community and education community was going through, they said nga the CEO became it's chief empathy officer instead of chief
That's,
executive
I agree
officer.
with that. I agree with that.
Yes.
Siguro kung feeling mo, wala kang empathy genes,
Yeah.
lumabas lahat last year.
Oo.
Oo.
Correct.
Tapos yung walang empathy genes,
Yeah.
hindi sila nag-succeed. Yun din
Ah,
yun eh,
that's
di ba? Parang
right.
yun din yung secret. Parang if you showed care and empathy towards your people,
Yeah.
that also meant, you could steer the boat better and
Yeah. It's
survive.
compassionate leadership.
Yeah,
That's what allowed people to pivot in the
right,
pandemic.
right.
So we all know the word pivot already.
Pivot. Pivot is
Pivot
the
the
first word in our dictionary.
yeah for
The pandemic
2020.
dictionary. Yeah.
Yes. So going into our topic today, I'm so excited to talk about it because there's so many questions in mom's minds, and
Mm-hmm.
there are different questions every term, I guess. And now the question is because a lot of schools, some have ended already, and
Mm-hmm.
some are going into summer.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so we're going to talk about, well, maybe later on, no, we'll talk about other things first, about the different formats that are available now for moms, and then how they can choose the format that's best for their child. Yeah, but for to start us off, to give a basis before we go into the deep topic, um, could you share with us some things that you noticed or observed or studied with regards to online learning? Like some moms say they're so worried about their kids not being able to see their friends or no interaction, live interaction with teachers. And there's a screen between teacher and their kids. Do you see any pros that came out of the online learning situation? And did you see what are the silver linings? Of course, there's silver linings as well. So, as an educator, what did you notice?
Well, I think all educators are very concerned about the social-emotional health of children right now, most especially the early childhood years, where we really build on not just their emotional skills but their social skills. So a lot of parents and a lot of teachers fear that there is some kind of impairment after this year. So I think it's quite a challenge, but it's a challenge that we were trained to take on. Parang we have to challenge ourselves to educate in all formats and in all possible learning environments. And it's a challenge for us to think of how to heighten the social interaction online, diba? In our school,
Yes.
we handle K to 12. So you can just imagine that there's a very large difference between social interaction in the early years, in the preschool and early grades, and social interaction in the high school years. And in the high school years, for example, Janice, parang the
Yeah.
way we've dealt with socialization problems is to ask the kids, 'di ba? Parang what do you want?
Mm.
Oh, teacher, we want a Discord server that's just for us.
Oh my
Um,
gosh,
no
Discord,
teacher. Oh
really?
yeah, no teachers. Okay, no teachers. Pero can we also have one teachers para we just know where what you're doing or pumayag din sila. Sometimes they ask that at the start of the
Mm.
online learning year, we were adamant about having their video on. You have to have
Yeah.
video on during Zoom classes, and then we realized na no, kasi it's invasive, 'di ba? So
Mm.
coming
So
into
you became flexible with that rule?
yeah. Yeah. Ako siguro yung pinaka-inflexible because I'm one of the older teachers.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm 85 years old. So I really wanted to see their reaction. And I wanted
Yes.
to see people in those Zoom boxes, di ba?
Yes.
And I realized it wasn't healthy for them, and they were actually quite tense during class. So we
Mm.
we have arrived at a compromise. So next school year, required lang sila to turn on their video at the start of the class, parang proof of life, and then proof of life again at the end. And sometimes we will ask them, okay, in this activity, I really need to see your hands, your facial
Okay.
expression. I need to see you just for a couple of minutes. And they will, ano naman, they will relent. They will
Yeah.
agree
Yeah.
because you've agreed on boundaries.
Boundaries. Yes.
I think it's
Yes.
very important that kids can negotiate this. Asking them how
Mm.
they think they can improve their situation is also applicable to the little ones. So the little
Mhm.
ones naman, we ask them, and ang dali-dali naman ng mga maliliit, they just said, we want virtual play dates, and
Yeah.
can I see Janice, my friend Janice, on Friday? Diba? And then the teacher will set it up so that they see these best
Okay.
friends, or they see their small groups. So we've noticed that these bonds were built even among kids who have never met physically. Kasi some of
Ah, nice.
the returning graders, parang they already met their classmates the year before, di ba, pre-pandemic.
Ah,
Pero for
that's
our
right.
new students, they were still able to make
To make
virtual friends.
connections.
Yeah. And
Ah, okay.
they are not less of a friendship because they started virtually, but I'm sure they look forward to seeing
Eventually seeing each other.
seeing the entire bodies of their
Yeah.
friends. Diba? I'm sure
Yeah.
they look forward to that. So we always tell them na when it's possible, we will set up physical play dates, and we will see each other in a physical class. But I think itong socialization, it's really something that we should closely observe and
Yeah.
study, and that parents, moms have to take note of, and kailangan siyang karirin actually.
Yeah, extra effort talaga,
Extra
no?
effort natin 'to,
Yeah.
extra effort natin 'to. Parang,
Yeah.
before our call was to, please put extra effort in the asynchronous activities because that's what you do. That's the only time na you can do one-on-one with your child, and we can't do it, because we're online. I
Yes.
think for the coming year, parang ang kailangan ka rin ay talaga yung socialization skills na parang
Mm.
ask our kids what they want to, how they want to connect to friends, how they want to make new friends, ask them how they are, 'di ba? Check on them, gano'n.
Yeah,
Di
yeah.
ba magaling tayo do'n every day?
Yeah, correct, correct.
"Oh, what are you doing? Kumusta ka na?" Gano'n. The things that annoy them,
Yeah.
they are
Yeah,
necessary. They are necessary. It's
that's
necessary to
right.
ask them because one day they will tell you they're not okay,
Yes, yes.
and we have to be there for them on that day.
Yeah. So it's also you have to, I guess, create that safe space also for the kids
Mhm.
during the time. But did you notice any silver linings in terms of school operations or how your teachers, because it was really tough also for the teachers to adjust. But did they also somehow enjoy that new setup of just having the flexibility of home and having this platform, the digital platform to engage your students with? Were there actually tools that they use that you didn't expect that
You
would
know,
work?
yesterday, we had a dialogue with a couple of school owners.
Mhm.
Um, we just checked on how they were. Teacher Tina and I checked on how they were doing after a year into the pandemic. And there was only one preschool owner who said that her teachers were actually enjoying the online the
Yeah.
online learning environment. So it's possible to enjoy it. Pero kami in general, parang they're very tired.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
appreciated everything that they've learned and experienced through this year because it definitely
Yeah.
develops your grit
Yes.
as a teacher and your flexibility. But I think everybody wants to go back to a physical class.
Yeah.
They did appreciate that they don't have to commute to school. They don't have to go through
The travel
traffic.
time. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think yung biggest silver lining, especially for teachers like me who have children, is
Ah,
that we have more
yes.
time with our kids, di ba?
Yeah. Yeah.
Even the
Correct.
moms, even the moms
That's
who
true.
complain na parang, I can't teach kasi my child is beside me all the time, or secretly, di ba, happy ka din na,
Yeah.
na
Happy
you
then.
have this
Yeah.
much time with my children.
Yeah, that's true. So, you do see that fatigue also, no? Is it because I'm just curious, no, na when you're teaching and it's online, you have to really put in more energy? Is it
Yes.
more energy that you have to
Oo.
emote more and
Yeah, you have to
maybe your facial
perform
expression?
more because
Ah, that's
teaching is
right.
really a performance. I would say, but
Yeah.
I think when it's online, parang and you know that there are a couple of notches down in terms of learning engagement. You really have to perform
Mhm.
more, and then your tricks are limited. Diba? There really
Ah,
is there
yes.
really is something to a physical presence when you're a teacher. Now
Yes.
you can approach a child during seat work, or you can
Yes.
put them aside and just chat with them, and then spend what I call spontaneous time. Yung parang
Yes.
you see them in the hallway and you start chatting about something, or you
Ah,
notice something different
true.
about them. Pagupit ka pala, ganyan, and you share that moment with them. Wala na eh. Kasi sa Zoom,
Yeah.
deliberate lahat eh. 'Di ba?
Correct. Correct.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. That's and I always wanted to know the teacher's point of view. So that's really interesting. Okay, and speaking of the teachers, what was the greatest challenge among everything that we talked about? What do you
Alam
think
mo,
today?
work-life balance. Talaga.
Oh,
Talaga. Kasi being accessible to your other family members, to the other household members, also meant that they think, for my younger teachers, my mom thinks
yes.
I can do chores
Ah.
every single hour kasi she sees me at home.
Oh yes, I
Tapos
know
parang, "No,
someone.
ma, I'm teaching." Parang I have my work hours are the same. They didn't shorten it, ganyan. Or they think, their parents think that when they're not online, they're not working. Pero actually, they have to clock in, di ba? They have to clock in hours.
Yes, correct. Oo nga, common pala 'yon. Yeah, but work-life balance, well, in a corporate setting, 'di ba, it's also the same. Like the bosses think you can call anytime and all
Right,
that. So,
right.
and also if you're not conscious, you can just end up working until because you don't have to go pack up and go home.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so now after a whole school year of online learning, now parents actually have the time to explore other formats. Actually, before nga the traditional school, those who prefer traditional schools, they would choose between traditional and progressive or
Right.
different progressive principles. But now, what are the different formats that are available out there?
More right now, I think there's still a difference between traditional and progressive online.
Mm-hmm.
From what I hear, I've never been in a traditional classroom, but I do know a lot of friends whose kids go to traditional schools, and it seems traditional pa rin sila kahit sa online. So it's very interesting
Ah,
when we talk
yes.
about the learning experience virtually. One option is what was taken by a considerable number of moms last year, which is to
Mm-hmm.
homeschool purely their kids, and that means following a program, enrolling in a program, a homeschooling program, or doing it themselves, doing it DIY. It's
Yes.
just deciding on what themes I want to follow and then what content I want to follow. Or
Yeah.
some parents just bought textbooks
Or they
uh,
order a
and
program.
got them,
And then,
right? Or they ordered a
okay.
module or a box with all of these materials. So I think that
Mhm.
option is still there. Um,
Okay.
what's what's nice is that I see a lot of supplementary stuff popping up. So parang for parents who are homeschooling their kids
Yeah.
in a pure way, they can actually do online workshops with certain outfits with certain institutions
Yeah.
once a
For
week.
certain subjects like
Yeah,
that.
yeah, they can do it for
Yeah.
enrichment, and they can also do it for socialization.
Ah.
Kasi when you're
Oh,
homeschooling, mag-isa
nice.
lang yung anak mo, di ba?
Yeah.
So at
Yeah.
least if they enroll somewhere, then they can do it with
Mm-hmm.
their kids can meet other kids. So it's nice that
Ah.
they're able to do it. I also saw a kami din, we've developed, we just launched our own learning kit. It's called
Okay.
the Raya Learning Kit. And it's true to Raya's thrust. They're learning
Nice.
activities, pero syempre very Philippine centric. So we targeted preschool skills, But we also wanted the kids to be exposed to certain Filipino artifacts, to
Oh, nice.
bit of our
Do you
culture.
have that for all levels? For just the younger kids for now?
We just have it for 2.5 to siguro mga 5.5, and you have to do it with
Ah,
you have to use the kit with your mom or dad. So I think it's been
nice.
great that schools are developing things like this na parang we want to still assist and provide materials to parents who don't feel like enrolling in a school. And alam mo, Janice, it's not really what I've realized kasi dati akala ko kasi times are hard, so
Not
the
economic.
schooling kasi it's cheaper, 'di ba?
Yeah,
Pero
yeah.
actually also the realization na kasi I'm back at work, and
Yeah.
I cannot assist my child with all the synchronous and asynchronous. Pero at least yung homeschooling, we can set aside a time that works for
That's
both of us
right.
every day, 'di ba? So
Oh,
it's
but isn't it the other way around that the mom I know kasi some moms who quit their jobs and just stayed home to be with their kids.
really
Yeah, I have like three friends left
uh,
corporate jobs to just kasi they had young kids and
oh
parang the
wow.
husbands were working so no one would be there for
Yes,
the kids. Yeah.
yeah,
So
yeah.
isn't it the other way around that those who are actually home already, they have the time to homeschool and I guess maybe both cases, no?
Yeah,
Maybe both
yeah,
cases.
yeah. It's the first time
Yeah.
I've heard of the same situation as your.
Yeah.
It's very interesting. It's really different across
Yes,
family.
so interesting. Yeah. So with your kits, is it like when people buy a kit, it's for like a whole year or is it by
It's for a whole
term
month.
also? So
It's
every
for a
month
whole
you
month.
send a kit.
So we
Okay.
have parang 20 activities.
Okay.
And
That's so
yeah,
cool.
we're sending it out today as we speak.
I love
the first
it.
the first kits kasi we really want to serve moms who can't enroll in Raya.
Yeah.
But want to keep their
You can
preschoolers.
actually market that even to because I'm in Canada, so Filipino families abroad who want to keep the heritage, the education in Philippines.
Ay nako, you cannot imagine how many inquiries we got from abroad. But
Yeah.
parang I can't send the
Send
tampipo
it to me,
there.
then I will go to the post office and mail it out for
Okay,
you.
Janice, ikaw din magpa-package ng mga
I love
native.
packaging. That's my passion. Send me na rin your books kasi I will read it.
Sana kung pwede, no? Of course, there's an Adarna book
I
in every
love it,
Harvey
Annie.
Almario.
Oh, I love it. Ay, naku, I'll keep that. Because I'm setting up Mommy Mundo Canada, so I'm gonna include that in my wish list for my
Sige,
products.
sige.
Naging
I think
distributor.
we developed that kit, Janice, kasi we wanted the kids to be more hands-on and non-digital. So,
Yeah.
parang,
That is actually one of the concerns of parents. They wanted to get their kids out of gadgets. I mean, the
right.
ones who are concerned about tech or
Okay.
even exposure to radiation. And, there are parents who
Yeah,
know who also have that concern.
yeah,
So that's why they opt maybe for the homeschooling program.
yeah.
So there's trad online school, progressive online schooling. Then there's
Homeschooling,
enroll homeschooling, and then there's DIY homeschooling.
right,
So those
right.
are the four. And sometimes some parents are into unschooling, which is another thing entirely.
Yes, yes, may
Yeah.
unschooling pa. I don't know
Yeah.
how many parents decided to unschool
Yeah.
because of the pandemic, but I know there is a population
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
families who are into unschooling. Uh,
Yeah.
yung isa pang thing siguro idadagdag ko that parents
Yes.
should be deliberate about aside from socialization is um, the the physical aspect. Kasi parang kids are always slumped in front of the screen.
That's
So
right.
yes, mommies, let's nag our kids to bike. To bike outside or get some sun, 'di ba? Yung
Yeah.
parang,
Yeah.
paano
Vitamin
ka naman?
D.
Ganyan. Yan, naririnig ko na yung mga nanay, pero our kids really need that.
Yeah.
I heard a mom say that their kids were pretty grumpy on a certain day, and they were throwing tantrums, and these kids were 9 and 10 na. So parang past the tantrum age, and it was and she felt na it was because they weren't outside for a long time.
Yeah.
So nag-drive around lang sila the village.
Oh, cabin
Yeah,
fever.
nag-cabin fever lang. Kaya lang hindi lang ma-identify nung kid na cabin fever
Yeah.
yun, 'di ba? They were
Yeah.
just both angry about the world and angry at the world. So
Yeah.
parang it also takes special mommy sensitivity
That's
to
true, no?
figure that out na ay baka kasi ang tagal na nilang cooped up. We think it's okay kasi they
Yeah.
like being in their room and looking at the screen.
That's
Um,
right.
pero yun, kailangan din nilang lumabas and breathe some fresh air.
And actually, physiologically, the sunshine is a important component. I mean, lack of sunshine causes depression rin, di ba? So,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
just sit by the window. Like me, sometimes I sit by the window just to get sun
yeah,
or drink vitamin. When here winter, I drink vitamin D.
yeah,
But there you have a lot of sun, so just let them sit by the window
yeah,
and get
yeah,
sunlight.
yeah.
Yeah. Oh, thanks for bringing that
And
up
get some
too.
pawis, di ba?
Yes,
Important
to
yun
sweat.
kids natin yung exercise.
That's
Ganyan.
true.
I
And
tell
move. Or
mama,
maybe
mama did
exercises.
their exercise ha. Kasi lagi
Yeah.
kang seated. So
Yes.
their
And
exercise.
even your eyes, actually. The
Yeah,
eyes. So
yeah,
do you have like physical exercises like stretching and stuff during class? Like
yeah.
you would make it part of the school day as
Yes,
well?
it has to be part of the school day.
Mm-hmm.
And they have to go on parang walking breaks. Not
Mm,
bathroom breaks, but really stand up, walk around before their next class.
yeah.
Para they're not fidgety and para they stretch, di ba? I've noticed
Yes.
most of my kids have gained weight.
I
Di ba? During the
that's
during the
right.
pandemic year kasi nga nakaupo lagi.
Yeah.
And a doctor friend told me, sitting is the new smoking, okay?
Oh no,
So
yes,
kailangan talaga
correct.
nakatayo tayo and
Yeah. Okay. So knowing all the different formats that are available, how do you think should moms like is there certain criteria that moms can
how do they choose?
follow to choose or maybe even just what are the things that they can spot in their child or in their setup at home? Of course, it's a family decision also, like what
Right.
school to enter into. Like in your experience, how do moms choose?
I think the first thing that families should do is to meet, to sit down and talk about their daily schedule. And if that schedule is able to fit in time for a child to have online class or to
Yeah.
do an educational activity that's synchronous with other children, then consider it, diba? And if it
Yes.
doesn't, then look at other options. Yung parang let's be realistic about it. The second thing I would suggest is for parents to do trial classes, to attend the different open house
Mhm.
activities across different schools and see how their child reacts and how the child connects to the teacher in front of her on a screen, di ba? Pero sometimes parents would also say, hindi kasi siya naupo during the open house activity. Hindi mo din yan
Yeah.
makukuha in one sitting, di
Yeah,
ba?
that's
Or in
right.
one activity. So there should be more parang multiple encounters
Mhm.
and multiple tries to see if your child can really sit down and focus. Tapos if they don't sit down, sometimes it's developmentally because they cannot sit down for a long
Yeah.
time.
Yeah, that's a
Age.
concern of a few moms. What do they do
Yeah,
if they can't sit down? Or
it's fine.
at a
Di ba?
certain age, it's okay. Like at what age should you expect them to sit down and focus?
Naku, sometimes 5 na. Tatayo pa
Okay.
rin, 'di ba? And it's fine kasi
Yeah, yeah.
syempre the parents were not around in the pre-pandemic physical classroom. So they didn't see their kids walking around. But sometimes they stand up, walk around and do whatever they want to do while the rest of the
That's
class is doing
true.
storytelling, 'di ba? And it's fine. Kasi they're kids. So
Yes, they're
parang when
kids.
they do that, we shouldn't be concerned. Ano din, ang challenge din ngayon is parang the kids are under a microscope kasi mommy and daddy are right beside
Yeah.
them, diba? And sometimes mommy goes to the screen and talks to the teacher.
Yeah.
Parang so parang mas sobrang nilang concerned, but actually we should always remember that they are kids. And they may
Yeah.
cry on Monday and then have a totally great time on Tuesday and then cry again on Wednesday. That's fine. Yeah.
Okay.
So
Yes.
that's the normal rhythm. And then you'll be surprised they get used to it, 'di ba? Our 3-year-olds and our
Yeah.
4-year-olds are doing great. They can already annotate. I remember saying that we shouldn't expect preschoolers our threes and fours to annotate on Zoom. Pero parang after 2 weeks, nakaka-annotate na sila. We had to disable it. They can
Really?
mute themselves, di ba? So ang galing-galing ng
Yes.
kids sa ganyan eh. Parang they can
Yeah.
just really adapt. Um,
Yeah.
but that doesn't
True.
mean um, we shouldn't be sensitive to their other needs. Parang
Yeah.
just because they're doing fine in online class, we shouldn't
Yes.
think that our job is done. We should always be checking on them talaga.
Checking on them. Yes.
Mhm.
Okay. So for families who opt to do homeschooling or DIY homeschooling. So these are families I assume who have the time to
Yes, it's so
really sit
difficult.
down.
Oo.
Yeah.
So I
So
would suggest
how
going.
what would they need? What kind of skills and resources do they need? Human resources
Oo,
that they
kailangan
need.
nila ng time.
Yeah.
Janice. Kailangan
Yeah.
nila ng lots of time.
Yes.
Kasi what I've heard from the really good homeschooling moms I've talked to is that programs are never enough. Parang you have to add your own
Supplement.
flavor, your own magic to it. Kasi kunyari, the most of the good programs daw are foreign. So walang Filipino, walang Philippine history, and you don't want naman your kids to miss out on that. So you have to look for your own resources for that. So you need time. You need to have a lot of time to research. I
Mm.
suggest joining groups like sa Facebook, there's this group called Homeschoolers of the Philippines. Diba?
Yeah.
Led by pioneer homeschooler si Donna
Yeah.
Silvao.
Pangilinan.
And
Yeah.
she has this wonderful Kid Starter curriculum with Liana Cruz.
Yes.
It's a great way to start on literacy and numeracy without
Mm.
pressuring the parents that much to look for other
Yeah.
resources kasi pretty complex.
Kidstarter
But
was by
yeah,
Donna
Liana.
and Liana. Yeah, and is that so that's Philippine made? Is there
Yes,
Filipino
yes, it's
there?
Philippine
There's
made.
Filipino.
It has
Ah,
Filipino, yeah.
okay.
And it's very mom friendly kasi it comes from their own rich experience as homeschooling moms. And I think you start by being a part of groups like that. So you
Yeah,
meet
the groups.
like-minded moms, diba? And you can ask
Yes.
your basic questions and see if um, your own situation can accommodate an activity like homeschooling.
Yeah. Are there support groups online that moms can join um if they are in a online learning environment with a school, actually enrolled in a school? Or is it just they rely on mom communities na lang and stuff? Or are there actual communities? Yeah, more on mom
If
communities.
there are communities, baka they're kept secret.
Yeah, maybe the school based na
Yeah.
like or PTC groups and stuff, no?
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Kunyari for our school, we have Viber groups for
True.
each section, and that's where they really,
Yeah.
if you look at the conversations from a year ago
Yes.
up to now, makikita mo rin yung development ng concerns nila, di ba?
Yes, we also know that from our the pulse that we keep on our moms na how it's evolving.
Yes.
And yeah, it's really interesting to watch how we also transform like in the way we because before we're like overly trying to control the situation. Like remember that time start of school, I saw like pictures of the study areas, the desks. I was like, wow.
Wow, di ba? Some people really went overboard.
Yeah.
Um, pero parang if that's the way that you feel like you're more in control of the situation, do it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
design
that's
a
right.
a really good learning environment for your child.
Yeah. Yeah, and then if the kids are motivated in that manner, then why not?
Do it. Oo. Kasi you
Yeah,
also know what your
true.
child needs, di ba?
Yeah, correct, correct. But do you have any anecdotes to share about like in the past year, what's your favorite experience that you had with Raya going online? Can you remember
Alam mo,
anything?
I have many, pero my most recent one is really a touching one. We have a kindergartner, a 5-year-old, who was throwing a tantrum and said, "Now, why can't I play with my friends?" Kasi she's been to school pre-pandemic. So
Mhm.
she misses
Yeah.
the play area, she misses the Raya classroom and all her friends. And why can I only see them on screen? And then her teacher was so concerned about it that she went to the student's house. Siyempre hanggang gate lang. She actually
Oh,
visited the student and say, "Hello, we're in the same situation." Kasi she's also saying, "I want to see teacher X. Why can't I see her? Like I used to give her hugs." and I used to be able to run around the school with her. So the teacher went out of her way and went to the, syempre super socially distanced.
Yeah.
Pero it
Oh,
helped
that's so
so
nice.
much. And I felt like, yun talagang essence ng teacher. Alam mo,
Yeah.
we will go to great lengths. Kasi nahirapan na rin yung parents and awang-awa sila sa anak nila.
Oh, yeah.
The child was just experiencing yun nga, cabin fever. Maybe what the New York Times calls languishing. Siya din languishing
Languishing.
siya, di ba? Her 5-year-old
Oo.
self was languishing. Her 5-year-old version of it. Pero
Yes.
di ba yung teacher, parang
Yeah.
it's me going there and saying na, andito ako.
Yeah.
Di
And
ba?
also to say that you're not alone. Like, we're all
Yes,
experiencing
ako
it.
din. Gusto na
So
kitang hug.
nice.
Pero kailangan natin maghintay. Yun talaga yung sinabi niya eh. Kailangan natin
Yeah.
maghintay when we can hug each other again. And it truly helped. And that's the perfect example
Yeah.
of how we can really go above and beyond.
Yeah.
Whether it's on screen or offline. Pero it also showed me na the bond between a student and a teacher are the same, di ba?
That's true.
It needs a lot of nurturing, and it made me very proud of teachers. Kasi alam mo,
Yeah. Heroes talaga, gosh.
heroes talaga yan, lalo na sa public
Yeah.
schools,
Yeah.
the
Right.
ones who are making the modules and reaching out to their kids who lack the resources to really continue.
Yeah.
Uh, I did a lot of training last year for public school teachers, and when I hear their stories, talagang grabe yung heroism nila. Lalo na ngayon. We've
Yeah.
got
So let's do a shout out to all teachers. Sorry, go again.
we've got it easy. Yung
Yeah,
private,
that's true.
parang hirapan tayo, pero public,
That's
it's
true.
hirap. Yeah.
Yeah, we're thinking of ways ngayon to give our public school teachers some inspiration through our mom share
Yes.
program.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll let you know as well.
Sige.
Kasi yeah, we recognize that we're like, if us we have all these resources for our kids, how do they do it, right? How do they do it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes they
So
forget to do self-care eh. So
yes, exactly.
kahit yung self-care lang na workshop, I think that would go a long way.
Yeah. Okay, okay. We'll let you know. We'll let you know
Yes,
also about
yes.
that. Okay. So those four. So mommies, now that thanks to Teacher Annie, we know that we have choices. And of course, you know your kids best and you know your family's best. So make an informed choice and know what's best for your own child as
Yeah.
well. And try to study options also.
And make a
Um
choice that won't kill you.
yeah, be compassionate
And
to
won't make you
yourself. True.
too tired. Diba? Take care
Yes.
of yourself.
Yeah. This is not the time to like go for achiever mode.
Yeah. Survival mode din tayo.
Survival mode, correct.
Yeah.
Okay, that's I learned so much. I mean, my kids kasi are not in that system, so I don't know what's available there. And at least for moms who are just entering the system, the education system, they would know that there are options for you. And whatever you choose, I believe that all teachers care for their students. Their hearts are in their students' welfare and well-being. So you'll be okay,
Mhm.
right? And if not, ask for support. Go on the support groups, Mommy Mundo, Glamo Mamas, wherever you can get help, or message us and we can try to get some information for you. Okay, so before we end, Teacher Annie, what would be, well, that was your word of advice for moms, I guess, not to pressure yourself too much, but anything else you want to share?
I
And also with, how
I
about
love
for
I
schools,
love
for
that walang
teachers?
pressure to achieve what you
Yeah,
said.
di ba?
Yeah. Kasi
Di
sometimes
ba?
we get so caught up in it. I think I'm also a
Yes.
firm believer in progressive education kasi I don't want the kids to feel any pressure.
Yeah.
Instead, I'm hoping the kids will enjoy learning. So even through a
Yes.
pandemic, it's possible to enjoy learning. And it's possible to enjoy the company of your
Yeah.
teachers and your classmates. But let's focus on that.
Yeah. Actually, maybe we have to remind ourselves also that whatever we feel, our children feels also. So if we're too nervous, if we're so concerned about different technicals or whatever, it also kind of hinders them from having a fun experience. So maybe let's just have fun with it. I think that's the what we have to do now to survive also is just to have fun and just be grateful for whatever we have and see the light side of things. Not everything, of course, is possible to see the light side of things. There are serious things happening. But in terms of the education of our kids, we can let go a bit. Yun nga yung ano ko for the year, let go. Let
Yeah.
go. And
Yeah.
yeah.
Oo.
Okay. So I have one last question, Teacher Annie, because I don't have this opportunity to ask you questions all the time. And I'm curious to know about your love of country, right? So we all love our country, and with everything that's going on and elections coming up as well and all that, how do we um, keep the love of country alive in our children in spite of all these circumstances? Like, what do you tell your daughter, and what do you tell your students, like in terms of the Philippines?
Nako, baka you should ask me, what do you tell our friends? Kasi even my adult Viber groups, parang there's really a lot of frustration and a lot of languishing
Yes.
in the conversations that I have with my friends and in the faculty, for example.
Yeah.
And I always tell them na um, I don't feel the frustration as much when I look at the kids, when I look at my
Mm.
students, kasi the students really give us hope. The best thing about working with children is that they never run out of hope. Yan, they easily forget the things that make them cry or make them break down. So I think that helps me as a person. Kasi ako din syempre frustrated,
Yeah.
mahal na mahal ko nga yung bayan eh. So naiinis ako kapag may
Yeah.
corruption, kapag may some kind of oppression in the country.
Yes.
I also tell parents na it's okay to share your frustration and to share whatever anger you feel or sadness you feel that's connected to our country with our kids, but also to be conscious, and again the word deliberate, to be
Yeah.
deliberate
Yes.
about sharing the wonderful aspects of our country's history and culture, kasi yan di yan nabubura,
Yeah.
'di ba? Yung
That's true.
stories natin of good Filipinos, of straight
Yes.
Filipinos, of upright, I should say upright Filipinos, of Filipinos who fought for our country's independence and our democracy and who continually do that,
Yeah.
diba? Who
Right.
try to help
Right.
our country during this time, yung mga nag-work
Yes.
silently, di ba? Na hindi
Yes.
natin napabalitaan. Yung mga stories of hope and democracy and stories of what makes us Filipino. We share that with our kids as well dapat. So that
True.
they
True.
know na ito yung pagiging Filipino. I recently nga posted on
Mm.
Facebook parang our symbols for graduation, kasi these are things that are made from Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao. And a lot of people were gushing kasi parang ang ganda naman ng sagbay ninyo or the brooch that you wear in
Yeah.
graduation. And some people might think, okay, they're just parang whimsical stuff. Pero these are symbols that remind us that there's so much beauty. There's so much
Yeah.
beauty in being Filipino. And literally tumataas balahibo ko ngayon when I
Yeah.
kasi ang
Yeah.
dami talagang things to be proud of, Janice. Pero our
Yes.
current situation just makes us forget
Yes.
these things. Pero
That's
yun,
right.
let's decide to look at those things.
Yeah.
Let's not forget reality.
Yeah.
And let's never forget what happened to us during this pandemic, all the key moments.
Yeah. Yes.
Pero let's also look at our victories as a people and help our kids
Yes.
victories as well.
That's right. I thank you. I love that. And that's true. Like being far away, I can watch from afar. I'm just as worried and
Yeah.
concerned and sad and angry. But it's amazing to see the heart of our nation. Iba, diba? So still a
Yeah.
lot to be proud of.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Actually,
So
mas nafe-feel mo when you're far away.
yeah, that's true.
Diba?
I can say that's
Parang,
true as of now.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's a great ending to our talk, Annie. I love it. Thank you for answering our bonus question. Um, but I love having you. Thank you for being so
Thank you.
generous with your learnings and all that you teach. I'm sure you're going to have a busy summer trying to prepare for the next school year. But
Yeah.
congratulations to you and thank you for all that you do
Thank
for the country, your
Thank you for all
education.
that you do, Janice, for all the moms out there. Let's look for that silver lining. I think the best silver lining about
Yes.
these things is that we learn. We learn
Yeah.
new things.
Yes. We evolve and grow. Never too late
Kahit yung
to learn and grow.
hardships, okay nga yung hardships eh.
Yeah.
Kasi ang daming
Yeah.
nagtuturo talaga sa atin.
Yeah. And it brings out the best in everyone too.
Right, right.
Yeah. Okay. So thank you, Annie. I'll see
Thank
you
you.
again soon. Okay, so thank you for joining us today on You the Mom. And thank you all to all who listened today. Thank you, Teacher Annie, for being here. So just remember, mom life is something to be celebrated and cherished. And we believe that moms should be also celebrated and cherished. So from us to you, we say,
You
You the
the mom.
Mom.